home. They're down 5 in the second half. Couple coaching moves. Number one, Kermit Davis goes from Middle Tennessee to Old Miss. Now, Old Miss is probably not a good job, but for Kermit Davis, same part of the country, I think this is Andy Kennedy there a long time. He left. I think this is a very good hire for Old Miss. I think Davis, who was on here on Sunday with us, he sounds like one of those homespun Southern guys that will be able to recruit properly. Middle Tennessee's been good. I think that's a good hire for Old Miss today.
I'm glad that you had him on because he's been very, very good for a long time at Middle Tennessee, and he moves up from Conference USA to the SEC, which is a great, great move. It's not one of the better jobs in the ACC, no doubt about that, but financially it's much, much stronger for him, I'm sure, and he deserves it. I mean, he has done a very good job. And his teams play hard. He's a smart coach, and I think you hit it on the head when you said he'll be able to recruit in that part of the world. And
no basketball players though in Mississippi, correct? So you got to go somewhere. You go to Memphis. Maybe you go to Memphis.
Memphis is right down the road. Yeah, Memphis is right down the road, and Ole Miss is a beautiful campus. I mean, basketball players are recruited during the football season. So when you're bringing kids in for a football game at Ole Miss, they're playing Florida or they're playing Alabama or somebody. I mean, that's pretty big stuff.
Will a kid like that, though, and be impressed, or will he say, geez, I'm going to a place that loves nothing but football, they're going to forget about me?
No. Well, the opponent will try to get if someone else is recruiting him, that's what they'll tell him. But I mean, it's an impressive social scene, and you're going to have a social life when you're in college, an academic life, and your athletic life. So I think that's all good for them, and I think he'll do a good job. Now, I think Andy Kennedy did a good job there too. It's a tough place to win, and he did a good job, and he was there for a long time. Kermit Davis has been at Middle Tennessee for, I think, 13 years, something like that.
Wow.
So as an assistant and as the head coach, so I think it's a great hire. For sure.
Now, what is a modest, proposal? What is a modest goal for that program? NCAA 2 out of 4 years, 2 out of 4 years, and once in a while a Sweet 16.
No,
not even that.
Less.
Not even that.
If you're reasonable, I mean, you got to aim for the middle of the pack as your first goal at Ole Miss.
Well, I'm talking about the AD now. What he thinks the Ole Miss program can do.
Well,
not Davis so much, but the AD. What does he think?
That's what I'm getting at. I mean, the AD, of course, wants you to go to the NCAA tournament every single year, right? But I'm talking about from an objective standpoint, from a person like me who's in the basketball world, but who doesn't have any particular feel for whether they should or shouldn't be good or whatever. Just from an objective standpoint, I think that that should be their first goal, to get into the middle of the pack, and they can do that. All right. After that, you have a great run like South Carolina had last year, and they made it to the Final Four. If there's a good player in Mississippi close that has a connection, and you get him, and then you recruit Memphis, as you're saying right now.
Right.
Now, Tubby Smith, of course, is gone from Memphis, and Anthony Hardaway, I assume, is going to be the coach. It's going to be tougher to get players out of Memphis now.
Right. So, but I mean, Davis getting paid what? They pay $750,000 a year, or more than that?
Oh, I would think he'd be over $1 million.
Oh, he would be over $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh, he was getting $750 at Middle Tennessee. They probably doubled his salary then.
Probably, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now
not bad, and the cost of living is different from New Canaan, Connecticut. I can tell you that.
Or Ponte Vedra, Florida. I don't have alligators on my driveway.
I don't have to pay as high taxes as you do.
Now the other thing is Hurley at UConn. Now we weren't going to ask Hurley that. I just want an NCAA tournament game, folks. I'm not going to, get into a prospective job when he's enjoying his run at Rhode Island. It sounds like they might be interested. If you were Hurley, would you take that job?
That's a good question. I might wait to see if there's something else. He's in that geographical area. It fits him. I think Danny is a guy, and because of the interview that you did with him, and we heard him talk about, the Northeast and the toughness and, all that, I think that's a better fit for him than maybe going to the Southeast or the ACC somewhere. I think you were. I like the way you didn't ask him about that.
Can't answer that. Not today.
No.
So So that's a tough call then for him to take the job. because
Yes.
Rhode Island's having a good couple of year run here. This may not happen again, so he's hot.
Right.
We don't know if there's an ACC job or a Big Ten job on the table. So from that standpoint, what's he do? It's a very hard call to make.
Right.
Because you go to UConn, you're going to be there for 5 years, and you're in a lousy conference, I think, at least, from a UConn perspective. You're not in a great conference, and it's not the same as it was, say, 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Makes it tricky.
Are you in a if you stay at Rhode Island, are you in a relatively stronger position in the Atlantic 10 than UConn is in the American?
Yeah, I think you are.
If you are, then you stay. Because it's all about your relative position in your conference. You know, there's the top 5 or 6 conferences, and then the next ones are the American, the Atlantic 10, the Mountain West, the Missouri Valley. Those are the next group of conferences that are really good basketball places. Those are the things that he has to evaluate.
Yeah, well, UConn's got a big pull. They still got Calhoun sitting there. You're playing a nice arena. They've won 3 titles. I mean, it is not, or 4 titles, because he won 3, and then, of course, Ali won the other one. So they won 4 championships. You got Oriema there, too, which I don't think would deter you from going, because Oriema's won with the women. You know that people are going to show up. So there's a lot of attractiveness to it. But the problem that UConn has right now is those people in Connecticut, they're used to playing Boston, New York, Washington, Syracuse.
Yeah, sure.
They're not used to East Carolina coming in.
Right.
No, or UCF. Or Tulane.
Right.
You know, they're not interested in these kind of schools, so that makes it a very, very tricky situation from that standpoint. Am I right or wrong?
No doubt about it. 43-40, by the way.
Let's get into this game for a second. Now, you've seen this team play all year, like the Ramblers, what they call the Ramblers,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Of Loyola Chicago. They won their conference tournament. They won the championship in the NCAA going back 50 years. They have talent. They got a good coach who you like. They had a lead in this game. They've allowed Miami to creep back in. They were down 7 a little while ago. Now they're down 3. They look like they're pretty athletic. You love the coach. What's your take on them? What's your take on these last 12 minutes against Miami?
Well, I think what's the part of the game where they're being hurt is when they are giving up offensive rebound baskets. They have 2 different centers, Andre Jackson, 6'5", Cameron Krutwig, 6'9", 260. So when those 2 guys go in and out of the game at that position, it changes the dynamic of the game. They have great perimeter shooting. Miami's doing a good job switching from what I've seen so far in this game. So it's a very, very tight game right now. Down the stretch, I think that Loyola is a cerebral team. They should make the right plays. They run intricate sort of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how execution fares against athleticism on the offensive boards, that where Miami has the advantage.
And Larry Nagan, you know, he's been to a Final Four.
Yes.
I mean,
George Mason.
he wins a lot of good. That's a tough conference, so he knows what he's doing, and this could be a kind of coach's game here in the last 10 minutes, right?
Yes, it could. I think Porter Moser has a lot of experience. He's a Rick Majerus disciple.
Nothing wrong
Rick
with that.
Majerus, of course, was one of the great. His past now, but has been a very, very solid coach and an excellent coach. So, and they're experienced. They're not experienced in the NCAA tournament. They won their league by like 5 games, and then they won their tournament. So they've been in some tough situations. They play extremely well together. Miami is without Brown, who's arguably their best player. But you're right about Larinaga. He has a lot of
got some savviness
experience.
to him.
He
got
does,
savvy.
no
He's
doubt.
savvy.
And he was a terrific player.
You told me he was a very good player,
yeah,
right?
Providence, yes. He was an excellent player.
Is that in your era? Did you play against him?
He's a little older than me, but fairly close.
So
I played against him not in college, but we had these touring teams, that played around, and I saw him in a couple of those.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the other game right now going on is Seton Hall, and they have had a lot of trouble in the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. 2 years ago, Gonzaga killed them.
Yep.
After they had won the Big East and beat Villanova, they had to go play, I think, in Boise, matter of fact, and they got 1 out. Last year, they lost 2. Right off now, good start. The 8-9 game here, the winner will get Kansas, and they're up 25-16. A senior-oriented team with some guards. Nice job by Seton Hall.
I think they're fantastic, and Willard has done a very, very good job there, and they are an experienced team. They're a hungry team. Desi Rodriguez, I'm not sure if he's 100% right now. He was injured late in the season. Carrington's a terrific scorer. Powell is a terrific scorer. The problem is, as much as I admire Delgado as a rebounder, he might be the best rebounder rebounder in the country. I think he's 12 a game, something like that, 11.9. He doesn't block a lot of shots. So he's not a rim protector. So they have to be aggressive with their defense and not allow him to get in foul trouble. So the perimeter guys, if they play solid defense, I think Seton Hall is going to go away with this.
All right now, Miami's at the line, and we will at 43-44-40 with 11:57 to go. This is going to be a white knuckler right down the stretch. We'll get to the play-by-play of it and other things when Bob and I continue on a busy show. Don't go away.